Hello, and welcome to another episode of View on Who. This episode, I'm going to be talking about the most famous villain in Doctor Who. Of course, it's the Daleks, and what I think about their regular appearances since the show returned in 2005. Now, I'm a big fan of the Daleks, and when the show returned, they were the monsters I was looking forward to seeing. And when they finally did in that Van Statten one single part episode, I was ecstatic, and I loved that episode. And ever since then, for the next few years, I was a huge fan. Can't wait for the next appearance. So throughout series 1, 2, 3, and 4, I really enjoyed their constant reappearances. I even thought that they were the monsters, the villains behind the story, The Idiot's Lantern. Which in reality is a bit stupid now if I think about it, but I always thought that they were like controlling the wire or something. So my opinions of the Daleks are very high, and the fact that they were so regularly appeared between the first 4 seasons of the show, and the fact that it's something that's the Daleks have been something that have carried Doctor Who through many of the years. So I appreciate their contribution to the show, but after 10 years since the show returns, they have made an appearance every single year. Now, looking at the classic series, this happened quite regularly in the first 4 seasons, but the Daleks took a break after Patrick Troughton's first season, and they did it on a regular basis. There were gaps in periods of time with Doctor Who's classic history where the show carried on, but the Daleks didn't pop up regularly. And when they came back, they were back in full force, and I think they work more effectively when they return in that capacity. Ever since 2005, they've appeared at least once in some sort of form of new footage. And now this conversation has just come up because of the new companion announcement that's happened recently. And I'll get to that a bit later. But I want to quickly run through each individual year. So up until the end of David Tennant's third and final full series, the Daleks were something I still really enjoyed seeing on screen. It started to become a bit pointless for me when they popped up in the waters of Mars. Looking at that footage again, it looked like it's new, freshly recorded footage. It might not be. Somebody please correct me if I am wrong. In that case, my point now is invalid. But anyway, and with the redesign of the Paradigm Daleks, I think everybody at that point realised that perhaps, especially me, the fact that they're trying to keep them fresh is getting a bit stale. And this is why Stephen Moffat at the time said 2011's series will not feature the Daleks. They would have a year gap, and they'll come back in full force again, and people will be happy to see them. But Stephen didn't deliver on his promise, as we got a little pretty pointless Dalek scene in the final episode of series 6. If you don't remember, it's the one where there's a Dalek trapped in its crashed spaceship, and the Doctor's using it to try and find information about the silence. It seemed very pointless. After that, it became every year on year, I just got more and more irritated with them popping up all the time. With the Asylum of the Daleks, we were promised multiple Daleks. I thought this would freshen them up a bit, but in reality, we got a couple glimpses, and that was it. In the 2013, I was expecting them to appear because it was the 50th, and it wouldn't be the 50th without them popping up in the special and in and they did, so that was fine. I let that one off. Then we got into the Dalek before Peter Capaldi's barely even got a chance to be the Doctor who's facing the deadliest enemies, and it seemed just weird that just throwing them in episode 2 just demeans them a bit. When they returned in 2005, they seemed like these indestructible tanks that couldn't be destroyed, and by the time we got into the Dalek, it just felt that the Daleks are now back what they were. They just seem to be pushovers almost, to the point where they don't seem like this completely deadly threat. People were so concerned about them in the early series, how much of a threat to the universe they were. But by the time we got to now, there's hordes of Daleks in the universe again now, and no one seems to really be that bothered. So maybe their appeal is fading, both from our world to and the fictional world. It just seems like that. The Magician's Apprentice again, I like the fact that they've only delivered on the Dalek story, but now it's just seemed to get a bit tedious. And this is where we come into the introductory trailer for the new companion, where they were thrown in as the monster to sort of chase the Doctor and build down a corridor so they can. And I just thought this year, I thought we were going to get a gap at last. With only one episode being broadcast this year, I thought the Daleks would take another year gap, and when they come back in 2017, which is probably likely to happen now, I just thought, yeah, that's a year gap, and yet the BBC couldn't even deliver on that because they're too reliant on them. And I think maybe that's why the show's starting to, in my opinion, starting to go downhill a little bit. And maybe it's time it doesn't feel fresh enough. Anyway, so the fact that now whether that scene that introduces Bill is going to be, people are going to consider it canon or not, will depend on when the Daleks appear next in Doctor Who and if Bill's character comes across them again. Because if Bill doesn't recognise them and goes, who the heck are they? Then that scene is invalid. So we'll find out, won't we? But anyway, this was just a ramble. I think this View on Who is literally me just trying to vent about what I think of the Daleks, and so I believe we owe the success of the show to the Daleks, and I won't forget that. But it's the fact that perhaps maybe it's about time we give them a rest. Maybe for more than 1 year. Maybe rest them for 3 or 4 years. Maybe the show, if the show doesn't survive on its own without them, maybe it is time for the show to break. Who knows? But anyway, this is a long one, so I'm gonna end this video / audio thing here. Like and subscribe and comment and all the rest if you enjoyed this, and let me know what you think of the Daleks and where you think it's time to rest them for a little bit and see if the show can do well on its own. Because I think it really can. It's a good enough formula. It doesn't need those maniac pepper pots popping up every 5 seconds. Anyway, right. Thanks for watching, listening, everything else, and I will speak to you and see you in the next video. Goodbye. You've been watching the Luke Nyul channel. Don't forget to click below to see more videos, and don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.